Self-control is the ability to control emotions and desires. We can't always have what we want when we want it, or at all in some cases. And this can lead to feelings of frustration and anger, and ultimately poor behaviour choices, both in humans and in dogs. Some dogs are more self-controlled than others, but it is a skill that can be learnt. By ensuring the behaviours we want to see more of lead to reinforcing and appropriate consequences. Being in a constant state of arousal isn't healthy, so this is about more than just behaviour. Self-control is an essential skill for all dogs, but it's particularly important for guide dogs. We need our guide dogs to be calm both in non-working situations and working situations. We also need our dogs to respond to the recall cue despite the many distractions and completely ignore very annoying puppy training supervisors. Play allows dogs to practice those instinctive behaviours such as chasing in a safe way, and it can be used really successfully to reinforce behaviours we want to increase. It strengthens the bond between dog and handler, and it also allows us to teach self-control in a systematic way. If we want to use play to reinforce behaviours, we need to make sure that we've taught appropriate behaviour around toys. And doing this helps avoid accidents, such as the dog jumping and accidentally grabbing hold of your hand or clothing. So in step 1, we focused on teaching the drop cue. Once you've mastered step 1, you can move to step 2, and that teaches the dog to take the toy only when cued. So you'll notice when I'm just stopped and talking, she doesn't go and grab the toy, and it's just basically because I've done some toy manners with her that she only gets the toy when I tell her to get it. So you can start that off really, really easily by just using very simple cue. Sit. Good girl. And it might be with your dog that you literally just have to produce the toy, and you can see they're desperate to go for it. So you literally might just produce it, providing they still remain sitting, then you give them permission to take it. Get it? Yeah. And then you can have a game with them. So that can be either tug, or it can be throwing for them. Or it can be parading, whatever you like. Yeah, whatever you like. Good girl. Nice. Good. Drop. Down. And obviously you can build that up over time to dropping it on the floor, throwing it about, leaping it, chucking it everywhere, and they shouldn't actually get it until you give that cue. Get it? Yay! Good! Get it! And this is your distraction work. So this is something that she really likes, something that she really wants, but because of she knows she gets it. Get it? Yeah! Oh, she won! She won! So because she only gets it for doing the behaviour that I want, then it helps with her focus. As always, this is just a sample training plan, and you can adapt it to the individual dog. But we're going to start off by asking the dog to sit 3 or 4 feet in front of you, or you can use a different cue if your dog's more reliable in, say, a down. Hold the toy in sight and still for a second, and then cue get it, then lower the toy to the floor and play the game of tug. Repeat until you're consistently successful. Work on duration by holding the toy in sight for gradually increasing amounts of time. Then we can start to work on distance by gradually standing further away from the dog. Then we can work on distractions by adding movement to the toy, small ones to start off with and gradually increase. Practice in different locations with different toys and with the dog in different positions.
Don't forget we want them to practice getting it right. So if they're moving towards a toy before hearing the cue word, just check. Have you progressed too quickly? If so, then go back a stage. Or are you being too predictable? Dogs are really quick to pick up patterns, so make sure you're not giving them additional clues that means you're about to say the cue word. If you're lucky enough to have a dog that's food and toy motivated, then you can use the food to reinforce the choice to remain in position. In this example, the handler is using a verbal marker, yep, which means remain in position, reinforcement will come to you. Get it means you can chase the toy. If the dog moves before being given the get it cue, remove the toy out of the way. Then go back a stage to ensure success. Notice just how much this dog's having fun here. She loves the chase, she loves shaking it, she loves holding it, and she loves tug. She also enjoys having food, and even though she's highly motivated for the toy, her drop response is instant. Practice with the dog in different positions. In the early stages, you may need to remove the toy before feeding the treat to avoid the dog taking the treat and then snatching the toy. Moving the toy closer adds to the difficulty. Notice that when the toy has been moved closer to the dog, it's now being moved less. Here you see the dog moving away while she's eating a treat. Her handler notices and removes the toy. When the toy is moved to her face, she moves her head away. So the game's made easier, and then she's reinforced with her favourite game of chase again. Once the dog is able to remain in position until cued get it, repeat the process but without asking for a cued behaviour first.